Alright, this is going to be for the engine bay on the 2016 Toyota 4Runner. We always go through here and just make sure everything checks out really well on the vehicle. It's already been through the dealership refresh, so you're going to see it does have a nice like treatment all over the plastics and everything here. Rubbers have been touched. Hoses, belts, everything look really good. A little bit of brown haze on that belt, so it has been quite some time. I usually do those on a mileage interval just to make sure I'm not ever roadside. Getting closer to 100,000, so it might be something to getting checked. Power steering here looks pretty good. These use like a, not like an ATF fluid, but it's good in color. Nice full system, works well. This does have a newer battery on it as well. They did go through and kind of cover up all the open connections here. I peeled back the tape a little bit to make sure it's not like just wire underneath the tape, and it's sheathed wire. I think they were just covering so that the protected shield doesn't slide off. Brake fluid there, nice clean clear fluid, right level. Looking over the brakes, they all look like they were recently done while this vehicle's been here, so that's what I like to see, fluid service at the same time. As far as underneath the hood here, I tried to get underneath the light here. They wanted me to stay in the garage here. One thing I always look at, like on the hose clamps here and on your crash rails here, you can see some surface rust on this car building up, a little bit of flakiness. They did do an undercoat on this vehicle to kind of stop that from getting any worse, but you want to just make sure we're not covering rust. We want to make sure we're treating the rust. Down here on the crash reports, no wrinkles, everything looks good there. On both sides, this one's a little easier to see. AC, heat, and everything work great. Talk about that more on the inside. This is going to conclude the engine bay portion. Alright, this is going to be the exterior portion on the 2016 4Runner. Vehicle does have nice aggressive all-terrain tires on it. They don't make much noise until you get about above 70. Color, you can kind of see it a little bit here. It's got like a really dark navy to it, but it's black with like a blue flake into it. Vehicle does have a hitch equipped on there. Full-size spare underneath. It's not the matching tread. Window rolls up and down on the back of these 4Runners. That's really cool. One thing you'll see all around the vehicle, there's some oxidation on the plastics and rubbers. Kind of see it on the headlights. I'll show you up there on the front. On the upper rack here, there's some dents and a little bit of like a line dent here, maybe from something they tied down or something in the midst. It does have factory rack on there. The glass has been replaced. It's not factory glass. Doesn't have any kind of wind noise or issues there. On this top corner, did notice this piece here broke. It's just kind of flapping there. Doesn't look like it's caused any water intrusion or anything like that. This is going to be that oxidation that I was talking about. You can kind of feel it on the paint a little bit too. Overall, just some scratches, a little bit of dings, some door scuffs, but nothing major on this vehicle. Panel gaps are all really nice, even all the way around. Smooth edges. Inside the door jambs all look really good. Doesn't look like it's been taken apart or any bolts that have been messed with. And this is going to include or exclude or complete your exterior. Alright, we're inside, so we're fighting with the lights here. Kind of reflect as much as I can here. You can see your body, your crash support here, all in good shape. Front suspension, all looks good. Control arm, skid plate, these have nice beefy metal ones. Move over to this side. Tow hook, everything looked good there. They did do an undercoat on this. This is where I'm looking to see some good surface rust, and I want to make sure they did not just cover it all, but treated the rust. Let's move over to the sides. This side's quite a bit harder to see. Let me see if I can pull out a light here. Alright, so body there. And then this is going to be your frame. Catalytic converter. Driveline, transmission. And everything looks dry. Driveline, diff, everything good there. Bit of surface rust, but they did cover to make sure it doesn't get any worse. You just want to make sure it's not just covered underneath and it was actually treated. Move to the corners here. Real quick. 4Runner. Body mount. This is your trailing arm suspension. Gas tank has a skid plate on it. Looks really good. A little bit of flaky, but it's kind of a theme here. Alright, this is underneath the rear here. You can see your trailer mount, frame, spare tire. Wheel's not in terrible shape. Looks like they painted that too. Differential has been painted. Can't really see any leaks or anything. That's good. This is going to be your tailpipe and frame with the hitch support here. Underbody and rear end and the muffler. We're going to go over and see that a little better. Alright, this is going to be your muffler and frame. Overall pretty good shape. Looking good. We'll go to this corner here. Catalytic converter on this side. Transmission looking good. A little bit of surface stress there is where the pads were when they had it on the lift doing the undercoat. Body looks good though. This checks out. Alright, this is going to be the interior portion. This vehicle does have steering wheel controls on there. All work as intended. Current mileage 97,514. Vehicle drives pretty good. Nothing really notable. Nothing popped up on the dash. Did have a little bit of noise in the higher speeds. That's most likely just going to be your tires with the all aggressive tires. Now we're going to move over here. Infotainment has audio, works navigation. It's kind of hard for it to pick that up. Weather actively here. Vehicle is equipped with a backup camera. Kind of lets you know when you start getting closer to things. Climate control is not automatic, but everything works as intended. Heat's good. AC is cold. This does have a power rear window, rolls up and down nicely. Heated seats work great. One thing I did want to point out while I'm up here in this portion, this previous owner had 3D printed these little shelves. These aren't normally here on these, and they fit pretty much perfect. They put a little tread in there. It's awesome. Cup holder inserts. Someone had fun with a 3D printer at the previous owner. We're gonna open this up and kind of show you all the corners from the outside in and give you a good run through on here. Before I do pop out of here, I do want to show you this has a sunroof on the vehicle. Works as intended, opens all the way up and vents. This is auto 4 windows, all the way up, all the way down, all the way around. This does not have automatic lights, but it does have fog lights. Everything works as intended. We're going to open this up. Alright, this has black leather with like a middle insert that's lighter colored. These are power seats front, both sides. Has all weather mats. They are WeatherTechs. Carpet looks great underneath. Dash, everything's in really good shape. Door cards as well. Moving to the rear, these seats don't look like they were used quite a bit. Fairly pretty good shape. I always check on these, make sure they're still tight. They are. Carpets underneath these look really great. These are form fit. They were quite tight to get out of there, so they're in place. Has some vents here, some charging ports. This does open. A little console in here, a little dusty. I don't think they just didn't open that when they cleaned it. Swap sides here. Alright, on the passenger side, similar story. Really good shape on this side. No rips, no tears, no burns, nothing like that. Seatbelt's in great shape. Same with the backing there. On this door card, I did have some wear on this trim here. A little bit of scuffing there. I tried to rub it off, it doesn't. It's just kind of there. It's really, really minor. Hard to notice unless you're looking, which I am. Moving up here. This is going to be the power seats, like I said, both sides. Seats in really good shape on this side too. All weather mats still the same true. One other thing I want to show you, they did have these really cool LEDs that they put all throughout the car, so they're in the rear as well. When I do the trunk portion, you'll see it. But pretty cool feature, I think, along with the 3D printed. Looks like someone just kind of made the day-to-day a little easier inside here. It's going to conclude our interior. It's going to be our trunk, lift gate, rear hatch, however you like to say it. This does have some power options here. In this cubby here, you're going to have your jack and emergency kit. Spare tire is underneath the vehicle, as you saw from the lower portion. Liner, carpet in good shape. Liner fits perfectly so that you can still use your strap downs, which is really cool, I thought. It does have the protector on the back of the seats as well. And then they do have these, get it to focus here. It does have these racks, like modular racks, it looks like. So you can kind of like add stuff to it, clip it on. Looks like they have Velcro here. So kind of just add some stuff without it taking up space here. This is going to be those LEDs that I was telling you about. Bright speakers in the back here work. And like I said, this does have a power window. Rolls up and down as intended. It's going to include our trunk portion. Alright, this is going to be for the code scan on the vehicle, or the OBD. We just go through the computer here and just make sure we don't have anything weird. I always make sure the VIN matches the vehicle. You can see that down here in the bottom left corner. Green checks means that all the monitors went through their checks. Everything was in the values that are needed for them to get those green checks. The gray circle means that it's just a monitor that was not supported, so it's most likely integrated with something else and through the computer system here. I'm going to move on to the next portion here. Alright, this is going to be all the modules on the vehicle. For the most part, everything checked out great. We did have some codes here on the engine. I'm going to get into those a little deeper and just kind of explain what I think is going on there. Alright, this has a startability fault that says it's current and history. I did notice this is also equipped with an aftermarket key fob, like alarm with remote start in there. Now, I was kind of messing with that to see if I can get it to work, and that could be what this is here. I don't have any active check engine lights or anything like that on the dash. I just was playing with the keys, and then I had it fail on the remote start because I opened it too quickly. So I think that's what's going on. Definitely something to kind of just keep an eye on, check and see. I haven't had any issues starting or stopping the vehicle. I've done it several times. I normally just go with the factory system. I don't really mess with the aftermarket stuff too much. I just make sure it works. So I believe that's what these codes are part of. But like I said, no active check engine light or anything like that on the dash as I was driving. All right, we're going to do a quick recap on this 4Runner. Overall, the vehicle checks out really well. A couple things I did note. It looks like it does have quite a bit of sun fade to it, so just kind of keep that in mind. Some of the surfaces are oxidized, like the headlights and trim and stuff. It does have really nice all-terrain tires. They do get a little bit of road noise. Keep that in mind. I did want to remind you a little bit of brake noise on this rear corner here. Kind of hard to pinpoint in this garage space they were having us in today, but overall, this thing checked out pretty good. Drives great, gets up and goes really well. All the features work as intended. I didn't have to jimmy with anything. Highway drive was great. Four-wheel system works really good. Has 4 low. On our exterior, we really didn't find too much as far as issues. You know, a couple dings, dents, a little bit of scratches. Door dings here, that's pretty expected on a 10-year rig. Car's for the most part stock. Nothing looks like it's been messed with. Really good shape, interior great. On conclusion, this is going to be a pretty good vehicle. My main thing that I wanted to make sure I address on this conclusion is the flaking that I saw with the undercoating. A little bit of surface rust on like clamps, bolts, couplers and stuff on the engine bay. Just shows that it's had a little bit of moisture. They did undercoat it, but I want to make sure it's not just covered, it's actually treated. So just one thing for food for thought. Overall, car checks out great. Nothing surprised or popped up that was unexpected. And this is going to be the conclusion on the 2016 Toyota 4Runner.